Just Bleed fans, or pundits of the sports, people just watching because it's on TV at the bar, or actual fighters, we all have one thing in common, and that is that they love watching some exciting knockouts. Here are the best knockouts in MMA history. Number 10. Raymond Daniels vs. Wilker Barros. Let's get dizzy. Raymond Daniels is a very accredited taekwondo and kickboxing fighter. Though he is primarily known for the kicks and such, he eventually turned to mixed martial arts as most do. When he took on Wilker Barros in Bellator, it's as if he said, "Nope, no wrestling. This is a kickboxing match." And he would not be denied a scintillating stoppage. After planting Barros with a spinning back kick, Daniels let his opponent up and then spun so much that Tony Hawk got jealous. He just spun and spun and spun some more, threatening with kicks, punches, and elbows. Barros succumbed to the sensory overload and just froze with his back against the cage. Daniels laid a right hook into Barros' jaw and walked away with one of the best highlights in MMA history. Number 9. Conor McGregor vs. Jose Aldo. Sure, landing a single strike isn't the hardest thing for a fighter to do. You know what is hard, though? Knocking out Jose Aldo. The man has only been slept once, and that was at the hands of, or left hand rather, of Conor McGregor. Greatest featherweight in the world at the time? Doesn't matter. 18-fight winning streak? Irrelevant. Conor McGregor talked trash to Aldo like he didn't belong anywhere near the same cage as him, let alone in it. This was bold as ever, but honestly, it looked true. In just about 10 seconds of the first round, McGregor landed that left hand of his that he fancies, and it shut the Brazilian's lights out. Speaking of stealing titles in quick fashion, Number 8. Rose Namajunas vs. Weili Zhang. If anyone has a penchant for giving the audience and commentator booth a jolt of adrenaline, it's Rose Namajunas. The only person standing in Thug Rose's way was Weili Zhang, a fighter undefeated in the UFC and one that has never been finished. That was until Rose Namajunas figured her footwork would look good on Zhang's face. Thug Rose hit Weili with a head kick off the lead leg, and the title was ripped away from Weili. The crowd erupted, the commentator booth lit up, and the belt returned to Namajunas. Number 7. Edson Barboza and Terry Ettime. What's a top 10 knockout list without Edson Barboza throwing some spinning stuff? With spinning wheel kick knockouts, it's hard not to be super exciting. But Barboza's really stood away from the rest because we weren't seeing a whole lot of knockouts like this at the time. In fact, it was the first wheel kick knockout in UFC history. Ettime went down like a mannequin and the room erupted. This will forever be ingrained in the UFC's highlight reel, and Barboza will always be recognized as the human Beyblade. If violent kicks to the head is your cup of tea, take a look at this next one. Number 6. Mirko Cro Cop vs. Wanderlei Silva. Pride never die. Who would have thought that putting two of the most terrifying men in the ring together would result in one of the scariest knockouts in MMA history? The matchmakers probably did, and so did the large audience watching in anticipation for something to happen. And it did. Cro Cop landed that signature left leg cemetery on the dome of Silva, rendering him unconscious and bloodied up. Number 5. Holly Holm vs. Ronda Rousey. Have we seen head kick knockouts? Yes, of course. What sets this one apart from the others? The names, the odds, and the era. Prior to fighting Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey was an undefeated fighter known for her dominating style. She frequently finished fights in the first round, typically by way of armbar. Holm played Matador very well and eventually landed her trademark head kick to end the fight. Rousey knew to be wary of this kick, but she was a beaten fighter prior to it landing. To date, Holm's victory here is one of the most exciting and shocking upsets in combat sports history. Number 4. Yair Rodriguez vs. Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. No disrespect to Yair Rodriguez, but come on. Why do you have to do this to the Korean zombie? Everyone loves that dude. Since we can't go back in time and warn KZ about this buzzer-beater shot, we'll just show you the clip since it's here. The two traded punches like me and my reflection trading compliments, resulting in one of the most exciting fights in MMA history, possibly the most exciting non-title fight in the organization. Following the 10-second clapper going off, the two decided to bang it out for the remainder of the fight. As the Korean zombie marched forward with 1 second left in the fight, Rodriguez threw an inverted reverse elbow thingy. Not quite sure what to call it, but it was nasty. Zombie folded and the official knockout was at 4:59 of the 5th round. Number 3. Francis Ngannou vs. Alistair Overeem. If this list was about the most violent knockouts in MMA history, then it would be about 10 spots up. Yeah, it's violent enough that it surpasses a number 1 spot. As many of you know, Overeem is no slouch in the striking department. However, it only takes one shot, and when the guy you're fighting literally hits like a car, then that one shot can be very dangerous. Overeem lost some technique out of trepidation from fighting Ngannou, and he paid dearly for it. He was caught slipping and ate an uppercut that nearly sent his noggin to Mars. An additional hammer fist really curled Overeem's toes, too. Overall, a great knockout, but hard to watch. Number 2. Jorge Masvidal vs. Ben Askren. From undefeated to losing in record-setting time, Ben Askren's fall from grace was one of the roughest that MMA fans have ever seen. Certainly the quickest. Askren tried to get inside Masvidal's head with a slew of insults before the fight, but Masvidal entered the ring cool, calm, collected, and in a hurry apparently. The fight starts and was over before Anik could plug Modelo. Brewed for those with a fighting spirit. We got you, Anik. Masvidal kneed the undefeated out of Askren in about 3 seconds, then landed some ground and pound. The bout was officially stopped at 5 seconds. The next knockout is one you really need to see. Because knee. Get it? Number 1. Joaquin Buckley vs. Impa Kasanganay. Here we have the best knockout in MMA history. This is going to be a hard one to top, so it may be at the top of lists like this one for a while. When Joaquin Buckley took on a then undefeated Impa Kasanganay in his sophomore outing for the UFC, we saw a technique often used in Taekwondo, but rarely utilized in mixed martial arts: the two-touch kick. Numansa threw a kick to the body that was defended and caught by Kasanganay. Much like my last relationship, Kasanganay held on for too long and paid for it. Despite being deterred by his UFC debut, Buckley bounced back in the most awe-inspiring way imaginable with this performance. This is, without much doubt, the best knockout in MMA history.